Hey guys, Nicole Scott here from Mobile Geeks. I am at the Geneva Auto Show with Dahlmann.
Hello, Nicole.
And today we're going to be talking about the general trend of electrification here at the show. Geneva's not typically a technology-focused trade show. If anything, I would say that this show is more about Russian oligarchs deciding on what car they want, or tuners. That's how Don put it to me this morning.
Yeah, it's more about, I mean, we have a lot of tuned cars here. You have a lot of cars in the high performance area. We're here at the Audi booth, and you don't see the little A1 here. You just only see like the big cars, or the upcoming GT, e-tron GT, which is a full electric car. It's a beautiful car, in my opinion.
And we got to drive it in LA.
And it's going to be a very expensive car, of course. So what you see here is a lot of expensive cars being shown, but that's Geneva 4, and that's Geneva known for. What you're missing a bit is the technology stuff. So things we saw last week at the MWC, for example, in Barcelona, or things we saw at the CS and in other exhibitions or shows. And I think this is also the reason why those shows are, I mean, I've talked to some people today, and a lot of people told me, I've never seen it that quiet. On the first day, this is the press days, obviously, but even with that, it's very quiet, and you see some booths here at Geneva not exactly filled.
You know, my last GIMS was 2 years ago, and Audi did a launch of their new their replacement of gas. So their electrification, carbon neutral platform. And I was like, okay, this is the one thing at the show that I find kind of like globally relevant, and everything else was just busy. It was really busy, and now you're right. Like, we're seeing stands that have where a second stand should be, and clearly they've just put extra cars there.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, Suzuki, you can have this spot for 3 more cars because we just haven't sold any space. There's cafes now in the center where we've never seen spaces before.
Yeah, you get food now.
You can get food now.
Geneva Auto, which was a hard thing to do 2 years ago.
So do you think that kind of the emptier vibe on the press day, the lack of the show floor being full, that we're seeing Geneva maybe start to decline?
It's a general trend. You can start with, normally the first big show of the year is Detroit. And Detroit, I think there was just one German manufacturer this year, and the rest was the Americans. You see it here. There are some players missing. General Motors is missing with Opel. Opel is now Peugeot, obviously, but Opel is also missing. Then it's missing Ford. Volvo isn't here. Volvo is here with Polestar. But so there are several companies missing, and you can also see from what's coming up in Frankfurt this year, which is like the biggest show because every 2 years.
It's every 2 years, right.
There are also a lot of manufacturers missing. Renault won't be there, Peugeot won't be there, BMW will be there, but without Mini. Everybody is scaling down, and that's because the general interest in auto shows has gone a bit down. And people, if you buy a car nowadays, you have like a lot of electronics in it, the entertainment system, the connectivity, everything is very important.
Autonomous drive.
Nothing that you can see here.
Yeah.
Nothing that you can see here. Okay, Audi is showing a lot of stuff with their charging technology and also the electrification. But if you really want to talk about entertainment system or connectivity or something like that, it's not presented. I mean, we've been in Barcelona last week, and every booth, also from the manufacturers, was about connectivity. And it was not about cars, and especially it was about connectivity. And I think it's missing this connection between what's going on in electronic part of the car and the car.
You know, so the decline in kind of auto shows and the rise of like Hall 6 at Mobile World Congress is basically an entire huge hall that's just full of sort of car manufacturers, but mostly IoT guys and connected smart city guys that specifically focus on the pain point of mobility and how these now supercomputers that are driving around are connecting to everything else. Car manufacturers are now just one piece in a much larger puzzle of smart city, and IoT. And now that we have 5G, and 5G isn't around, you having faster downloads on your smartphone, 5G is about how the world around you is connected.
Yeah, we saw that last week also. We had like Dieter Zetscher from Daimler, CEO, talking to CEO of Microsoft, Mr. Nadella, and they were talking about the new thing that they are planning in terms of data analysis, etc. We saw, so the car is, as you said, only a part of a much bigger environment that it's now part of. There is data analysis, obviously very interesting, connectivity, the entertainment system, even small startups that take care that you find a parking spot or you can find the cheapest price for your gas or something. Those are important. These are part of the ecosystem of cars now. What you have here is cars, but it's missing the rest. And I think for Geneva and for all the other motor shows, it would be a good receipt just to think about that and invite maybe other companies. Also companies that has to do with fintech.
Yeah.
So how do you pay in your car, et cetera, et cetera.
Really push Uber and Lyft and ride-sharing companies to kind of show up here and say, okay, Audi, or like they have all of these really strong collaborations. Like Volkswagen has their whole digital services that they're launching into Berlin, and this is around parking spaces and your trunk as a delivery service. Like if as someone who's like a little more smartphone inclined with their coverage over the last few years, I can really draw parallels to the car being very similar to the phone in that a few years ago the phone was the hardware that we analyzed because the hardware needed to become good enough for us to like do all this stuff. And now the smartphone's a commodity, right? It doesn't matter which one, it's good enough, right? And now it's about the apps and the services and the ecosystem. And the car isn't there yet. I mean, by any means, the car still needs a lot of evolution in terms of like how the infotainment system will connect, how these walled gardens will kind of come down to create a more inclusive environment. But the hardware is fine. The cars themselves are fine. The
car itself is there. I mean, since ages, the car is there. I mean, you can't make it barely better. It's like reached the top of how the build quality, etc. But the technology, isn't there. So they have to work on the technology, and I think they have to show it. And car shows like these don't do it.
Don't do it. So this is maybe the end of the car show era. I'm going to have to take all of my selfies and stuff with all of these supercars now, because this may be the
last time.
One of the last times that I'm here at GIMS. So, what do you guys think? Are car shows over?
Yeah, are they over?
We're kind of the mind that these are a declining ecosystem where they need to evolve to include the broader picture of mobility, because you can't just show one piece without showing the whole picture.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for the talk, Nicole.
Yeah, all right. So be sure to check out the rest of our Geneva Motor Show coverage. Don and I are going to have a few chats about a lot of different stuff. So check the playlist around here somewhere.
See you next time.